Of all the shots you could have hit for your first one in the NBA, could you have imagined it would be from beyond half court?
No, I couldn't, but I'm grateful it went in, and I'm glad that's my first bucket and got it in the books,
What didn't go right when you were in the half court?
Everything. Yeah, I mean, listen, like, it's gonna be some of these, right? The only thing I really was upset about, or that I felt, that I let our group down was just we didn't fight like enough. It just wasn't. We didn't play hard enough, tough enough, smart enough, and that's the stuff that you can control.
Just a little bit. Didn't handle the moment very well, I don't think. I mean, in like lots of areas, blew some easy layups, blew some shot, turned it over on some easy plays. Defensive coverages were breaking down pretty bad, for like wide open dunk. A lot of learning will be going on tomorrow, that's for sure.
We knew they were going to make a run. Obviously, this team is a team that doesn't quit. So we were able to do a better job of playing with poise and able to come away with it. We started strong. We talked about having momentum. We knew from the start they were going to play with, high energy, be very physical. We weathered the storm.
We have a lot of talented guys, so whether we're down 30 or 20, it's just kind of just next possession and keep playing, keep fighting, because at any point the game could change. And, with a fan base like we have, momentum shifts, and, it's just to stay in the game and, play till the finish and play till the game's done.
Yeah, so welcome to November 2nd. What a difference a couple weeks makes, guys. That was game one. Some highlights and some commentary from after game one. Tried to show you kind of the little comeback and where it started with that Banton half-court shot for his first NBA bucket. And yeah, I think we're coming down to Washington for a little bit of a rematch here. And we're going to come in there, and we've got 2 weeks under our belt. It's been massive rapid growth, but this time we're a little wiser. I'm not going to leave their roster up for long here, guys, because we really looked at it last week. If you want to go back and look at game one's preview, you can go through, and I went through the players a little more in depth. But ultimately, Washington has a much better team. So anyone who's watching ESPN only.
Before he got traded from Toronto, he was trying to get to L.A. Popovich, Buford, and the Spurs refused to do so. They sent him out of the country, for crying out loud. Okay.
Is under the impression that, Washington lost Westbrook, and who knows what's going to happen. But at the end of the day, Wes Unseld Jr. has such depth that we know from our 2019 championship how much depth plays a role in terms of not just playing in the playoffs with injuries, but getting through the season having your star players healthy. And that depth gets your star guys into the playoffs feeling good. These guys want to bitch and moan about, Kawhi's limiting minutes and not playing your star players all the time. Guess what? That's how you win championships. How you don't win championships sometimes, putting all your money, all your eggs into 3 baskets. Harden, Irvin, Durant. Any of those guys get injured, Nets are out. LeBron, AD, injured, don't go very far in the playoffs, right? So that was last year. So this is the issue, and depth is something Washington and Toronto now have a plethora of. So I'm going to put my puppy down here on the ground so I can show you kind of where Washington's been since we saw them last and what we can expect to see going forward. Bertan's out for a few days here. We've got Gale out. Rui's not back yet. Apparently he's getting close. And then Thomas Bryant's still out. So those Hashimura, Bertans, and Bryant are a big deal. Washington, of course, is sitting at 5-2. They just got their second loss against the Hawks the other night. Let's go through their games. So we know the first game was us. Then Pacers, they beat them in OT. So keep that in mind. It was a close game. Nets beat them. And then Celtics lost. Hawks got really beat by them the first time. The Celtics took them to OT the second time. And then the Hawks just beat them the other night. There's our loss. And I don't need to remind you very much. But for me, this story was a combination of Beal's not shocking, but it was these rebounds. Kuzma's 15 rebounds, but mostly Montrezl Harrell and Daniel Gafford. So for me, these are some major issues, okay? So personal fouls, Harrell only 2, Gafford only 1. This is what I think primarily needs to change. In the Indiana game, Wizards force OT, okay? And we end up seeing that Turner has a massive game, 5 offensive rebounds, really gets at them, but most of those are from 3. Look at the 3-pointers. And this takes the Wizards to overtime. We know from what we did in the 3rd and 4th quarter against them that they can be stunned and beat. And the guys we need to beat, again, look what they did. Harrell was all over the offensive glass. So 3 personal fouls in that game. Gafford, they did a good job of getting Harrell and Gafford off the court. If you look here, if they did a good job
of forcing the Wizards into their bench.
Miles Turner had a big game. Look at the 3 points, okay? So they made the Wizards them contest threes. Miles Turner had a massive game. Washington goes to Boston. And what I want to show you here is just the rebound. Kicks their butts on the rebounds. And again, Harrell with 25 points and a plus 21. 11 rebounds, 4 offensive rebounds. This needs to not happen to us. The first game against the Hawks, they beat them again. Look at this, second chance points, okay? 12-17 for Washington. The rebounds, Washington beats them. But now, let's take a look at the 2 losses. Boston plays them here too, I could show you that quick. Boston takes them to OT. One of the reasons they do so is they get Harrell to foul out and Gafford, who did not play. So that was a major reason Boston was able to take them to OT, is that Harrell fouls out and Gafford's not even playing, okay? This is a major deal. Now, in the losses, Durant and Nets spoiled Dinwiddie's return to Brooklyn. Beautiful. Look at this. Look what they're able to do. They're able to stay pretty much even with them in terms of rebounds, and second chance points are pretty much even. If you look at Harrell, if I don't pass the box score, they pretty much limit him on the glass. Look at Harrell, minus 23. Okay, the reason being, the Nets just outshot them. They were stuck on the defensive glass the whole game. Look, offensive rebounds. Harrell's still making difference with only 1 offensive board. Gafford, he's a little more productive, right? But Harrell did nothing off the bench, and that's because Patty Mills went crazy. Okay, look at Patty Mills here, 5 for 9. Joe Harris, good minutes off the bench, and of course Durant or James Harden on the court at all times, right? And then the Hawks come in, and they get it right this time. They beat them pretty handily. Why? Look at the second chance points. Look at the rebounds, first of all. 47-36 for the Hawks. Guys, I'm telling you, this is the key, and our offensive rebounding and paint stripping defense and our offensive crash the boards offense is a very good tool against these guys. The last thing we need to do is limit these second chance points, okay? They limited them to 4, and that handed them their 2nd loss of the season. If you take a look here, look at Gafford's fouls. Gafford, 4 personal fouls. Harrell, 3. They got them off the court. This is, to my mind, the key to dealing with the Washington Wizards is we need to get into their 2 bigs, Gafford and Harrell, immediately the moment they step on the court, and see if we can get into their bench a little bit, cause some issues, make them go a little deeper, make them run some combinations that they don't want to run.
Bertans out. Bryant out. These are bigs. Get into their bench.
Run. Because Beal and Dinwiddie, Kuzma, those guys are going to do their thing. If we can disrupt Gafford and Harrell and not have game 1 repeated, we're in good shape, and we can learn from the Hawks, Celtics that took him to OT, the Pacers who took him to OT, and as well as the Nets in terms of just keeping Harrell on his heels. You do not want Harrell on the offensive boards. The last thing I wanted to take a look at here, and that was a comment that I got because we were talking about how great it was to see Malachi Flynn on the court, and how we got a great comment on Raptors Republic on their forums there. And it basically said, Simon Phoenix basically said, it's great when Flynn came in, he stepped right into a 3. He doesn't really fit the team anymore. And I said, he still fits the team, but he's not long, meaning long arm monster, which means he's the chaser. If you don't understand what I mean by being the chaser, what I mean there is that Malachi is responsible for the 1 in the box and 1. And he's responsible for one of the 2s in the triangle and 2, right? So although it can be with Banton running the point guard, our team isn't designed to all be long arm monsters, because ultimately it's often got one of the smaller guys. So Gary Trent Jr., it was a big deal to see if he could perform as the one, as the chaser. He's doing an amazing job of it. In fact, it's the most impressive part of his whole season. We knew he could shoot and score. And of course, Freddie is running this by and large. Malachi was drafted to be the understudy of Fred VanVleet and Kyle Lowry. Memories. So here we go, right? So Malachi's not obsolete, okay? So keep this in mind. And then I love what Simon Phoenix says next. He's like, I don't know, maybe playing him alongside Banton might work. And I say, yes. I love this comment. I think it's a strong prediction. And I say the whole point of Banton is to play him handling the ball so that our shooters can be off ball and get some shots up. And it's worked really well for the Raptors so far. So I think that Simon Phoenix makes a great comment here. And I think that we're going to see a combination of Banton and Malachi down the road doing exactly this, where Malachi, who's a good shooter, is going to be off the ball. I think that that's going to allow us to use our depth to get us to the playoffs and maybe be able to rest some of our guys that are playing 30 to 45 minutes right now to get wins. And it's going to be very important that we play Malachi. Trust me, guys, he is not going to be on that bench forever. Don't forget to like and subscribe, guys. If you're enjoying the content, if you have any comments or something you want to see, definitely let me know. Enjoy the game tomorrow night. And remember, it's all about the Larry. Kawhi, you're not sharing candy with me. I got Starburst and Welch's Grapes. Can you hook me up, please?
I don't even know where you're sitting at.
That's bullshit, Kawhi.
You're laughing
This
stupid.
is Chef's Kiss approved. Mwah!